Alright guys, here we are for yet another Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade, and with the first anniversary rolling around on global soon, and Yuta dropping in a day from the time of me recording this video, I think it's time that we go ahead and make a beginner's guide. Now, this is going to be a long one, and there are going to be timestamps along the video for you to use as a guideline, so you can watch this video at your own time and just look through everything that you need to see. Now, when you start a new account, obviously you're going to be able to get a set amount of cubes, more than 3k to start. It's going to be by 6k plus by the time the anniversary starts tomorrow. So with that in mind, if you want to reroll to save you the hassle of going out of your way to grind up cubes to keep on summoning and just get the best outcome that you want out of your account, you can reroll on this game to start a new account and hopefully get better luck and get the outcome that you desire. And to reroll, all you need to do is just close the app, restart the game, and as soon as the little login pop-up comes on, whether you're on PC or mobile, just click on change account, and there you go. Just create a brand new account. You can also log in via Apple, Google, or you can even use your SMS to make a brand new account, and there you go. And besides that, there are also the alternatives of being able to make another account through different servers. Like, for example, I currently play on Europe because that is the account I mainly. However, you have around 5 different servers to have access to, so instead of making a brand new email, I would take the 5 chances that you have and just try out the different servers between Taiwan, Hong Kong, North America, Korea, and South Asia. At least you'll still be able to play the game. This isn't even co-op based, so it doesn't matter what kind of server that you plan to play on, just that you won't be able to get some friends that are playing on different servers, but hey, that's neither here nor there, and that's all you really need to do for when it comes to re-rolling your account, because there's going to be a lot of stuff coming our way. We should expect Wave 2 to give us maybe the second anniversary characters that JP is going to be dropping soon, or perhaps we're going to go back to Shibuya. And let's not forget, there's also going to be the JJK 0 characters returning on global, with the characters already having the SP buff, such as this Red Yuta, Blue Keto, and Miguel. So yeah, there you guys go. That's how you reroll on the game. On JP, it's a bit easier because all you need to do is go back to the tile screen and do clear catch, and there you go. But in global, it's different because, you know, it's being owned by Bilibili. The first thing that is going to come up as soon as you start the game is going to be the wishlist system, where it basically guarantees you a character or a recollection bit to pick at your own pace, and you get that character or rec bit by logging in on the 25th of every month. And in this case, I happened to choose a rec bit that helps me in the long run, but this is the one that we have this month. It changes every month, so every month we do get different characters and different recollection bits. For this one, I would really advise to just go for whomever you like the most, but I would say that Blue Yuji might be the best one since he did get a really solid SP buff. I don't remember 100% what the Blue Yuji does with his SP buff, but just know that he is a pretty solid taijutsu unit to have for blue now, and they did change his passive so that way he does a little bit more damage, he supports a little more, and it's an okay character to get started with until you get better characters down the line. Miwa is for tower mainly, she's just okay, and then Panda is just a tank that does no damage. And then you have 3 different rec bits, but I would really recommend picking the Nanami one because it increases your crit rate by a certain percentage, and you do a lot more damage upon landing a crit. So other than that, that is the one rec bit that I would really recommend players to pick up. Just pick up anything. It changes by month, so yeah, this one is a bit lackluster compared to the previous months that we had beforehand. Now, upon getting the wishlist done, obviously there is going to be cubes to get from the game. Now, on starting, you'll have a beginner section where you do set tasks and you get some cubes along the way, but that's not the only way to get cubes. You just basically play the story, play the events. You have domain investigation, the enhancement quest. We'll explain everything that there is to know, but just know that cubes, you want to be very careful when it comes to spending them, because you have a finite amount of resources, and with global slowing down and not catching up to JP anymore, there's going to be a little bit less cubes to get in the long run, that you want to be very selective with what you decide to summon on. So just be careful as you play through the game, because this isn't exactly very free-to-play friendly when it comes to the resources that you can get. Okay, so now let us go ahead and talk about characters, stats, and explanations and their terms, because there is going to be a lot to discuss. In terms of units that we have in the game, all you guys need to know is that it pretty much takes aspects of a lot of different gacha games where you have different colors. In this kind of case, you have red, green, blue, and yellow, and the way of how it works this time around is that there isn't exactly a specific color where they take advantage of another color. Instead, this game focuses on mainly mono team builds, like for example, an all blue team, an all red team, an all green team, and an all yellow team, because when it comes to forming teams in which you bring an off-color character, there will either be an instance in which two attributes have typing disadvantage and they will take a little bit more damage, or a case in which they will just take typing disadvantage except for one particular color. So when we dive into the content for the game modes, I'll explain that a little bit further. But now that we have gotten the attributes out of the way, let's just go ahead and take a look at characters, stats, and everything that you guys need to know of. So as an example, I am going to be pulling up this red Nobara right here. Now, this character is a Jujutsu character, and you guys can already see that she prioritizes her curse technique, where it's only at 11,000, whereas the physical technique is 7,722. So in terms of characters, you have hybrids, Jujutsu characters, and Taijutsu characters. In this kind of case, Nobara is a complete Jujutsu character that specializes in doing more curse technique. And the CP doesn't really matter too much. It's just for account progression and getting all of the beginner missions done. But HP, I think it's pretty mandatory. Not much to explain. It's how much you start off with. Physical technique is basically when you do taijutsu attacks. Curse technique, in this case for Nobara, because she mainly attacks with her nails. Obviously, this is Jujutsu damage that she's going to be doing through this curse technique. Initial CE, basically, it's how much cursed energy that you will have available to you upon starting the quest itself. And max CE, pretty much self-explanatory, how much CE you will be able to stack up with the character if you decide to use attacks in which you do not use cursed energy. Because yes, when using characters, they will have a cost rate for when it comes to using CE. Like for example, Nobara skill 2 will consume 5 CE, and Nobara skill 3 will consume 25. And then you have the max ultimate gauge, because upon starting the quest, you'll be at 0, and you'll need to reach a certain statistic to get the ultimate available to you to then activate it. And the great thing about ultimates as a whole is that they do not use any CE whatsoever. You just use the attack, and there you go, you're pretty much done. That's how you use it. So this is completely CE free, like any other skill 1 in the game, because they always consume 0 CE. So with everything being said and done, as you guys can see, Nobara is a red character that prioritizes mainly on Jujutsu. So that is what we call a Jujutsu DPS character. But that doesn't end there. Considering we've seen characters such as Nobara, there's also going to be characters that rely on physical technique. In this case, well, we have the Yuji Itadoris available to us, or Taijutsu DPS characters. So yes, there are two different types of DPS characters that you're always going to be able to take advantage of and swap between the two. And of course, that's going to be very important for when it comes to tackling on tower content, because again, they'll be nerfing some Jujutsu characters and some Taijutsu characters, or even some of the content such as Imaginary Realm, where Jujutsu damage gets completely nerfed, and then you take advantage of Taijutsu, and the other vice versa. So in this case, for Green Yuji, he has no cursed technique, so he is not going to be doing any type of damage on Jujutsu, and of course, all of his attacks consists of physical technique in this kind of case. So that's all you guys need to know here. Even this red one, and even the best unit in the game being Zone Yuji, was a monster. Fantastic. That being said, even though there are characters that prioritize mainly Jujutsu and Taijutsu, there are also going to be some characters, like for example Yuta and Nanami, and also Sukuna in this kind of case, where they do also do damage via Taijutsu and Jujutsu. In the case of Red Yuta, as you guys can see, mixed stats between physical technique and curse technique, and the skill 1 is just Taijutsu. The skill 2, on the other hand, is mainly Jujutsu. And then you have a skill 3, which is a mix of Taijutsu and Jujutsu. Now, keep in mind, this skill 3 is getting buffed by the time his SP buff is going to be available either tomorrow or when we get the JJK 0 rerun banner on November 21st. But the ultimate, which is going to be the main gimmick with this character, is that he does mainly damage with Jujutsu. As you guys can see, an almost 2000% multiplier. So there are going to be those kind of characters that exist, but some skills, of course, they're going to be doing different stuff. It really depends on the character. And as the case of Nanami, real quick, who was a DPS character? Now that I think about it, probably the blue one. Let's just scroll down if I can find them. Actually, let's take into context the yellow Nanami, because this guy's mainly a hybrid of things. So as you guys can see, does 70% of Jujutsu and Taijutsu. His skill 2, okay, wait. His skill 2, on the other hand, a mix, 162 Taijutsu and 162 Jujutsu, and then the skill 3, yeah, almost 200 Taijutsu, almost 200 Jujutsu. He's mainly a hybrid kind of character, but mainly this character is meant as a sub DPS, nothing too crazy of that kind of sort. So yeah, just letting you guys know right now, there are also hybrids that exist in the game. So yeah, those are the DPS characters completely summarized. That being said, it doesn't stop there, because this game does not prioritize mainly characters that just do a shit ton of damage, because there are also going to be characters that support your team and also some specialists in the way where they do specific things. But now let's just go over the topics of supporters, because those are going to be your main meat and potatoes and what will allow you to clear the quest a little bit more fast. And the perfect example to bring up is going to be this SR Yaga. Yes, believe it or not, this game actually uses SRs and Rs. One of the few gacha games that I've ever touched upon where they still manage to stay very relevant. And the crazy thing about this game is that supporters don't die as easily. They are going to be here to stay until another supporter comes in to completely replace them. Now, the big deal about Yaga is the fact that he supports mainly from his skill 2. He's not there to do damage, because this is what he does. He provides a Taijutsu and Jujutsu increase to all allies for 4 turns and gives 45.81% increase. And it's stackable too. You can use it up to 4 times, meaning that in max, you'll be able to get a total of a 183.24% increase for your Jujutsu or Taijutsu DPS, or even both, if you're planning to run 2 DPS characters on the same team, which will allow you to get the maximum damage, nuke a little bit harder, that kind of stuff. So that's why he is mainly goated. And this character, he came out as soon as the game launched, and he is still being used in today's meta for red team. My point stands that supporters are going to be what carries the game through, because DPS characters can very easily get power crept and replaced in due time. Look at Sukuna already getting replaced by Blue Yuta, as an example. That being said, he doesn't just buff on the skill 2, he also uses his skill 3, which not a lot of people use at the end of the day. He does provide a damage debuff, as you guys can see right here. I never got it to level 10, nor do I plan on getting it to level 10, but it's only for 2 turns. It's not really all that much stackable, so like, you're looking at an 80% plus increase onto that skill 3, but the ultimate is still nice to work on because you do get another damage debuff, and also it is a bit of a stat debuff, so that's why. But of course, he's not going to be as crazy good for debuffing compared to the red Megumi that we are waiting to drop on Global. Global just skipped 4 banners, and red Megumi was one of them. So we're already starting to jump onto Yuta, and more than likely we're going to get the 2nd anniversary units very soon on Global too. That being said, you do not have just buffers. You also have damage buffers, and biggest examples are Nanami right here. He is also another SR. Now, he has been replaced by the likes of Teen Nanami, who is limited, but this character will still do the job just fine, just that he's not there for damage at the end of the day. He is just there for the skill 2 and the skill 3, and he provides a damage increase to all allies by 34.44% for 4 turns. You can increase your unit's damage by 137.76%. Now, with that being said, damage buffs compared to stat buffs are additive and not multiplicative, where stat buffs, they do multiply into your physical technique, your curse technique, so it'll allow the unit to do a little bit more damage. And then he also provides a damage buff through the ultimate. Now, I didn't get it maxed out. I don't plan on maxing it out because I have Teen Anatomy, but yeah, he also provides another 24.88 damage buff to all allies other than himself. So you have stat buffers and damage buffers, but guess what? The same thing can be said for debuffers as well. Well, in this case, we have a lot of different characters to talk about, and the first one that I do want to cover is going to be Domain Megami, because this guy is a damage debuffer as soon as you pop the ultimate. When you get the ultimate out, I never maxed it out, but I might max it out eventually. It's just that I've been prioritizing a lot of different characters at the end of the day. But all you guys need to know is that upon popping his ult, he will be able to increase damage taken by 45% for all enemies as soon as the domain remains active. And then his skill 1 changes, and you constantly do a damage debuff for 3 turns. In this case, yeah, 99.30% for 1 turn. You can stack it up, and you're going to be looking at a very good ass 297.9% increase. So yeah, keep in mind it is additive, but it still helps out in the long run for being able to do a lot of damage to the boss and just kill them off faster. And let's not forget, through the domain, you're also giving the enemy another 45%, and you're looking at, how much are we talking? Yeah, 342.9% overall damage taken increase to all enemies. So yeah, other than that, that's an example of a damage debuffer. Now, with damage debuffers, you also do have stats debuffers as well, and in this case, we're going to take into example Team Ghetto. Now, Team Ghetto is a really good stat debuffer in this kind of case, although for whatever reason, they did separate his debuffs into 2 different skills, being the skill 2 and the skill 3. The only difference is that it's very easy to just spam the cursed energy because of how cheap it is. But on his skill 2, he applies an 18.05% Jujutsu damage taken increase. So keep in mind, this is going to be a stat debuff, and also applies 19.99% Ya attribute curse technique damage taken increase to the previously specified enemy. So you're looking at almost a 40% debuff with the skill 2. But also keep in mind the fact that it says Ya. This is for green, by the way. So yes, in this kind of case for mono teams, there are going to be some characters that do stat buffs, damage buffs, stat debuffs, and damage debuffs for a specific attribute. And Ghetto is one of those biggest examples of a character that is only going to be working on the green mono team. So that's an example that you can get out of, and his skill 3 pretty much does the inverse of that. It mainly does taijutsu debuffs. Now, I didn't max it out yet. I might do that in due time, but he gives out a 16.70% taijutsu debuff, and also applies 18.22% green attribute physical technique damage taken increase to the previously specified enemy. So yeah, other than that, there are going to be those kind of characters that exist for support. And that's pretty much it. So in terms of supports, you have 4 different characters. You have your stat buffers, your damage buffers, damage debuffers, and your stat debuffers, which are going to be very nice to help on your team. And now, the last set of characters are going to be specialists. Now, specialists are characters that you can kind of call them support, but at the same time, not really, because they will not be able to debuff or buff your characters, but in this kind of case, provide some kind of utility to the team. So, taking into example Junpei. Now, not the best example because he does do a mini stat buff, but on his skill 2, he basically grants attack nullification to himself and also provides damage reduction to your allies by 20%, but also applies Attract, meaning that the boss is obligated to only attack Junpei for 1 turn, while also being able to get a good amount of damage reduction onto this character. This is a utility character. He is only meant for tower. He's not really meant for much, although he is a really solid stat buffer to use. Not the best, because you have Yellow Shoko that is going to be better, but Yellow Shoko is not on standard yet. So yeah, this is still a pretty solid option to have in this kind of case. You have the Aryuki. He provides Cursed Energy Recovery. Very good for being able to spam your skill 2 and skill 3 while being able to get a lot of Cursed Energy back. And also applies damage reduction to only 1 ally, but also his ultimate provides a Jujutsu buff to characters. So in this case for nuking with Teen Gojo, that's a really good character to bring alongside. You also have the SR Yuki, which, by the way, provides defensive capabilities because a 33.24 Jujutsu damage taken decrease to all allies for 3 turns, and you can spam that. And you can also try to stun the enemy with the ultimate. So that, you also have the R Inumaki right here, which provides damage reduction. Keep in mind though, he does take away his own HP every time you use any one of his skills, but he provides damage reduction and also recovers ultimate gauge by 194, making this guy a really nice character that allows your units to tank, but also get your ult gauge faster to then nuke. So still a pretty nice character to have. You also have characters such as the blue Miwa, Yellow Mekamaru, hold on. Yeah, Yellow Mekamaru, his skill 2. He does draw attack. I call this Attract because it's just easier to say, but he also applies break damage, taijutsu increase to himself, and also a crit rate increase. And you just draw the enemy into attacking Mekamaru, and this guy counterattacks and does solid damage. And he's mainly a character meant for doing break damage, so that way you can get the opponent to stop attacking, you can get a lot more damage. I didn't fully SP buff him, I only got a skill 2 active for tower, but that's pretty much it. And Blue Miwa does the same thing as Mekamaru, mainly through her skill 2. Counterattack, applies a track, also can evade, but yeah, all you guys need to know is that there are some characters specific to what they can do. These are called specialists for a very good reason. With everything explained about how characters are and how they work, I will provide a link to the description to the Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade Wiki, which is a very nice website to see character tier lists, to see how better they work, especially when you do not own the characters. And I will also provide an invite to the official Discord, so that way you can see characters, how they are, how you can build them up, and all that good stuff. Now, with that being said, how do you level up these characters? Because we've gone so goddamn in-depth that we haven't talked about how you can get them worked on. So, first things first, when it comes to leveling up your characters, you use the EXP orbs. Where you can get these EXP orbs is by clearing through the story events, map events, but also, most importantly, through the enhancement quests. That being said, I recommend only doing the enhancement quests on the weekends because you have ×2 drop rate and you can get double the rewards, whether it's going to be for EXP, JP, and Beacon of Recollection bits. So that's what I would really recommend going out of your way to do. And of course, when you go through characters, there is going to be a level cap that you have going through. And to get that level cap unlocked, you need to go through grade enhancement. Through grade enhancement, you just keep on unlocking the level caps as you go through. And it is going to require some specific materials to get. And these materials, as you go through the story, you'll be able to unlock them set by set, grade by grade, and the best way to do it would pretty much be to progress through the story mode. In this case, you have to go out of your way to clear the first chapters of the story, not until the Shibuya arc, but all the way until you clear chapter 6. And then, after you're done with chapter 6, you unlock the original story, being Fukuoka Branch Campus arc. And you just continue progressing through the story until chapter 10. Once you finish all the way up to chapter 10, you'll get all of the grades unlocked and you'll be able to completely max out the characters up to level 140. But let me just tell you guys this right now. You're not going to be able to do that immediately because you want to first level up the character, reach the level cap, and then go through the story. Because after you get that done, it also means that you'll be able to unlock the cursed object collection, which will also allow you to go ahead and get more cursed objects to get the grades done, increase the level cap. And once again, I also recommend that you spend AP on this when it's on the weekends because you do get the ×2 drop rate for this. Now, thankfully, because Yuta is going to be dropping tomorrow, and you're also going to have the weekend starting soon, you'll be able to take advantage of this and get more grades unlocked. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the skills, because the skills, you need to level them up just so that way you can maximize the damage that you can do from the character. It's not just the levels that you need to get up, it's not just the grades, it's also that too. Let's be honest, on average, if you do have a set amount of JP, you can only, at the bare minimum, get up to a max of level 8 through the skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, and the ultimate, you can get it up to level 7. Why is that? Because this game requires you to get some crystals to even go past level 7 on the ultimate and to even go past level 8 on the skills 1 to 3. So where you can get these said crystals, well, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Hold on, let me just go ahead and pull up Zone Yuji, because I never maxed out his skill 1 and I never will. So, for when it comes to the regular Jujutsu crystals, you just basically go through the quest and just do some events. This, pretty much events. But here, the Chaotic Jujutsu Crystal. This one is going to be a bit annoying to get because it is a lot more limited compared to the regular one and the SR one. Because you get fragments for this to then combine and make the Jujutsu Crystal. And then you just get one. You need 10 fragments of these to get it. And even then, let's say you want to be able to pick these up, you got to go through domain investigation and hope to get lucky to get that out of the way. Events. Now, right now, we don't have the story event because that can guarantee you the crystal itself. Will be getting that on Friday when Yuta's banner is going to be out. And once you go through the event, you'll be able to get that. Through the map event, it's going to be through the exchange, and you'll be able to get it there. Gotta scroll down. Yeah, other than that, you can only get the Jujutsu crystals from limited events. So that's the one thing that is kind of annoying, and it's even more annoying with Global not catching up to JP anymore because they're not going to get that same luxury of being able to get them out of the way. So when it comes to getting the skills unlocked, be very selective with your characters and do what you need to prioritize. In this kind of case, I did all my characters. I started working on my stat buffers and my damage debuffers, everything support related, just to maximize their support benefits because those characters are not going to get replaced anytime soon. Next up, we're going to talk about the Recollection bits. Recollection bits are what you would call accessories, gears, weapons. They do specific things to make the character better. It can vary from being able to do damage. It can vary from being able to support, heal, do attract, being able to apply dodge, anything. You can do anything with your rec bits, and it really depends on how you go out of your way to build up your characters. So, just to take as an example, this Recollection bit right here. When you do get this, you'll be able to apply 45% curse technique increase to self for 1 turn. And if self is a green attribute, it's 50% Jujutsu increase to self. And this rec bit is good for a lot of green Jujutsu DPS characters. In this case, Honored One Gojo, Choso, who else? You can still use the likes of Hollow Purple Gojo, if I can find him somewhere. I don't know where he is right now. Muta, a lot of characters that are mainly going to be relying on Jujutsu to do damage. So there's that, and you also have another skill in which it can do a lot of different things. In this case, it recovers 150 ult gauge per self, and it will activate again every 5 turns, and it really depends. Now, to level these up, you'll need to get Beacon of Recollection bits, and also you'll have to use some JP to get them leveled up. And the crazy thing is that the more dupes you get of the rec bit, the more benefits you get out of it. Okay, this is funny enough, one of the few rec bits that I do not have duped up, funny enough. And upon getting any new Recollection bit, you only have the main base skill available to you, and that is when you activate the rec bit itself. And this will be able to apply 50% A attribute damage dealt increase to self for a total of 2 times in 2 turns, basically giving 50% damage increase to any blue character. And if self's HP is no more than 50%, applies 10% curse technique damage taken increase to self for 2 turns, negative effects, and can be used again for 6 turns. Now, at base, this is without any dupes. When you get 1 dupe onto the rec bit unlocked, this means that you get access to the passive. And in this rec bit's case, when turn starts, if self has damage taken increase effect, applies 30% curse technique increase to self for 1 turn, and includes physical technique, curse technique, damage taken increase effects. So yeah, with 1 dupe, you get the passive unlocked, and as you go through the limit breaks for any type of rec bit, when you get to LB3, you will also give an increase to the main ability of the Recollection bit. And in this case, I'll get a stat increase. So it'll go from 50% A attribute damage dealt increase, 60%. And also, hold on, what else? Yeah, this also gets buffed too, because now you just want to be below 60% HP to get the rest of the negative effect active. I know it's not the best Recollection bit, but it was funny enough, one of the few rec bits in which I had little to no dupes, just to showcase the value of dupes into the Recollection bits. And the way of how you can get dupes, of course, is by summoning, but also you can get these crystals in which you can use as a dupe zone. Now, to get these, funny enough, they do give you at least 1 per story event, and you can get 5 fragments of this same crystal from map events. And there's also going to be plenty of other events in which you can get duplicates of this. Thankfully, Billy, Zoom Zap do give these out quite often, and these will help you to get some rec bits leveled up. Now, this is not a perfect example of a rec bit that you want to work on, but when Yuta's banner does drop and you do pull the Exorcism rec bit, that is going to be one of them to get worked on, because you just get a lot of damage out of Yuta. But yeah, mainly I would use the rec bit crystals onto Recollection bits that have not been added into Standard, which, by the way, we will be going into the Gacha system real soon, and we'll just talk about how the summoning works on the game and everything that we need to explain here. But just to give you guys an idea, I would really work on the Recollection bits where you do not get dupes out of when it comes to pulling on the Standard tickets or even any banner in general. So yeah, that's why. Now, let's go over the Gacha system right now. Upon starting your account, you will have not only this Toji banner right here, and upon starting on the 1st anniversary, of course, you'll have the Yuta banner. There are also going to be 3 step-up gachas that are paid only, and you also have a beginner banner, which is only for like a set amount of time, where you can set 3 characters to pull for your desired choice, and just use cubes to summon on that. Obviously, I do not recommend any one of you guys to summon on the banners to go out of your way to pull for them, because these are really old characters. You can already get them from Standard tickets. Not worth it. And then you do have the redrawable SSR ticket. And I'm going to tell you guys this right now. The only unit I really recommend picking up is going to be the green Yuji, because he is so good with his SP buffs. He is currently the best green taijutsu character that we have in the game that can work out for the green attribute. But yeah, that is the only character I would really recommend getting from the redrawable ticket. And yes, you can keep on redrawing until you get the character, which is pretty stupid, because why not make it a selector at that point? When it comes to summoning on this game, you do have the regular story event gachas, the Phantom Parade featured gachas, and of course, whenever we do get these big celebrations, you have the limited gachas. In this kind of case, Yuta is a movie limited character and will be out for a very long time, and then once his banner leaves, you're gonna have to wait like a good 6 months to even a year to even be able to pull for the character again, because that's what limited means. They don't come back very often, and they don't get added onto Standard. And speaking of Standard, you have the Phantom Parade gacha, which is a premium banner. This banner basically includes every single character that has been added into standard from the start of the game all the way up to JP's half anniversary, where it does feature the likes of Teen Gojo, Toji, Teen Geto, and even features characters past those three, and it goes up to Blue Miwa. Now, we have yet to get another standard banner update where it does include Blue Inumaki, the Yellow Kaido, and hopefully it will go up to Shoko, maybe. Basically, a bit of characters past the first anniversary for JP. And these are all characters that you can get for free from tickets or as an unfeatured on any given banner. So that's one thing that you guys need to take a look out for when it comes to summoning on this kind of game. You do get some characters that are going to be unfeatured in specific banners. And then, of course, the main banners that we need to talk about. In this case, we have Edo Tensei Toji. I like calling him Edo Tensei because, come on, this is Revived Toji. Who cares? Who cares? This character, he will get added into the standard banner later on. We don't know when, but I assume it's going to be after whatever the upcoming standard pool update will be. That being said, it's going to be a very long time until this character does come back, and it'll be a while. Obviously, this is not a character I would really recommend pulling for, just because Zone Yuji is going to be a much better character to pull for as a Yellow Taijutsu DPS character, and you do have the anniversary characters coming up that I would not really recommend anyone to summon on this banner right here. But how you can tell if a character is limited or not is, one, you can look at the wiki, and it'll tell you if it's going to be standard or limited. But most importantly, go into Gacha Intro and scroll down until you see the notes. And this is the most important thing. All newly introduced characters and recollection bits included in this gacha are scheduled to be added to other gachas, such as Phantom Parade gacha, but the specific probability and date are undetermined. Details will be notified when each gacha is held in the future. So yes, Toji will be back in another given gacha and will eventually come onto standard. When it comes to characters such as Yuta, they give a different description, saying that they may introduce the banner again, but will not be added onto other Phantom Parade featured gachas. So that's how you know if a character is limited and when a character is going to be coming onto standard. And this is one of those characters. Obviously, I do not recommend pulling for Toji. Just summon for Yuta, or just be smart and just wait for the second wave of the first anniversary news to drop, and we'll see if we'll be getting the second anniversary characters that are dropping on JP that are going to be coming onto Global in just a few weeks. Okay, we've talked about limited characters, standard characters, all that kind of stuff, but now we gotta go ahead and talk about the summoning system of the game. So, to do a multi, you pretty much need to have 3k cubes, and to do a single, it's 300 cubes. And to get to pity, let's say you do get the worst possible case scenario where you don't pull the character at all within the cubes that you have saved up. Well, you do at least have a pity system. But here's the issue. It costs 250 points just to be able to secure a copy. For the recollection bit, it is half the points. Thankfully, it's 120 points. But still, not a lot of people like this. Even I myself am not a big fan of this, especially given the fact that you already have, what's the draw rate again? Just to be able to get Toji? 0.7%? Yeah, 0.7%. So it's not even a 1% draw rate of being able to pull the character. But do keep that in mind. We do have a lot of gacha games with 0.5% draw rates nowadays, huh? And to pull any given SSR character, you're looking at 2.50%, and then for the recollection bits, it's 5%. So, yeah, it's pretty similar to like any other gacha game that we have, just that we don't have discounts, we don't have guarantees, so it's like, not a lot of people like this. That being said, there is one thing. You see this little button called Recharge? You can add your own points to a banner. And this will allow to half the pity. So instead of needing 75k cubes just to be able to go to pity and guarantee the character, you can get the unit by having the pity, adding 100 points, and then you would only need to do 150 summons in total just to be able to get the character. By 150 summons, I mean 150 pulls, 150 singles, that's what I mean. So basically 15 multis. That being said, to get that, you're going to need to get these gacha points. So whenever you do summon on a banner, when you get to 20 points, you can exchange it on the banner you summoned on, and you can get half of the pity, and you can carry it over to any given banner that you want. Now, I do want to add something to this, and let's just say we're talking about a free-to-play player. If you do pull on the banner, and you do get the blue Yuta super early, and you leave the banner, let's say you pull them in like 20 pulls, 30 pulls, 40 pulls, you can at least get half of the pity and get 20 points to carry over to the next banner. So, like, for free-to-plays, there is definitely an advantage to this, but this more so works in favor for pay-to-play players, and I'm going to explain why. I have access to the Celestial Access and the monthly pass, where you can do a free single and also do a paid cube single every single day. So, let's say you do the free multi already, because every single banner at least gives out 10 tickets at the minimum. You do 10 more singles, and then you can just exchange the points without having used much of your cubes, really. So, like, that's the one thing to take into consideration when it comes to summoning on the game. Yeah, it has a very expensive pity system, but you can carry it over. It's just, you need to be a paying player. So for free-to-plays, not really that crazy good, if I'm being honest. That being said, as you guys can notice right here, you do have a lot of different paid banners, and of course, some paid singles to go through, because this game, believe it or not, it's very pay to win, as you guys can pretty much see, but it's also pay to play friendly, because at the end of the day, whenever you do buy cubes, you do get a discount single, which is only limited to one time a day, and it's 100 cubes. But there's also going to be some benefits, but honestly, I'm going to dive on into this when we're close to the end of the guide for if you want to spend money on this game or not. I'm a light spender myself, not a heavy well. This is all cubes I've stacked up over time, okay? Believe me when I say this, I don't summon on every single banner. I just do my discounts, leave, and then just buy my passes, buy my stuff. I don't really go out of my way to do some heavy whaling like some other people that I know in the JJK Phantom Parade community, even though I do have a really ridiculously high cube count right now. But yeah, okay, I'm not justifying my whale status, let's be real here. Alright, now let's go ahead and talk about some team formations that you can take advantage of. And let's just start off with a very free-to-play friendly team that most of you guys will have access to right now. So we'll have Toji, who is in the standard pool right now, that people can get lucky or not, and hopefully pull him. But also, there's going to be Red Yuta, who is going to be back on JJK 0 rerun, and you'll be able to do a free multi. So let's say you do get him, I'm going to feature him. So I'll just put him here. Now, because Yuta is a Jujutsu unit at the end of the day, because he does a lot of damage through the skill 3, mainly once he gets the SP buff, and also the ultimate specifically, you want to give this character a Jujutsu Rec Bit, or a Damaging Priest Rec Bit. In this kind of case, multiple different things that we can go for. We have this Curse Spirit School Team. This one gives out 75% Curse Technique increase to self for a total of 1 time in 1 turn, so great for nuking. But also, okay, now, we're not getting the extra 15 Cursed Energy because he is not a Curse Spirit. But the main important gimmick is the fact that every time we land a crit with Yuta, I get 200 ult gauge. Meaning that, yes, I'll be able to apply the ultimate instantly. And then another Rec Bit. This one, which is free to play now. We don't know when this is going to be available again, because this was during the 1.5 ANNI on JP, and of course the half anniversary on JP, where it gives a very good Jujutsu increase, and also 10% more if HP is no more than 30%, but also gives a revival status, applies resurrection to self, so you can basically give a free revive to Yuta if needed. And also, another one that really works out. Hold on, we just go down. Pride. This is completely free to play, by the way. You can get this for free. This gives out 60% permanent increase to self for 8 turns, and you'll be able to use it again after 5 turns. So then you'll be able to stack it up and get 120% Curse Technique increase. Now, the only bad thing is that you do take a while to get the ult gauge up, but the damage that you get out of this is so goddamn good. And then the passive, if HP is no more than 50%, 30% damage dealt increase itself. So, very nice. Very goddamn nice. You can take advantage of this. And then, well, what else? This is going to be back on the JJK 0 rerun banner. Not as great as Pride, but still 65% increase to Curse Technique, and then also 20% ult gauge fill rate increase itself for 3 turns. And then there's a lot of different rec bits. I would really recommend checking out character guides on their wiki and the Discord, because there is a whole section to them, and you can just take a read through it yourself, because there's like so many goddamn rec bits that you can take advantage of that I can just sit here all day and talk about it. And then non-standard, which is premium and is in the standard pool. 85% Curse Technique increase itself for a total of 1 time in 1 turn, and you already start with 200 ult gauge. So yeah, there's a lot of different rec bits that you can go for on Yuta. And then, here's what we want to go for. Alright? So, team formation. It's pretty much simple. You want to bring Yaga. We'll change the order around. And then, we're going to go ahead and apply a debuffer. Or a specialist. This kind of case. Ready Numaki. This is a very free-to-play friendly team that anyone can get access to right now, because these are Rs and SRs that can help you through the team. So, yeah, what do you want to give onto these characters? Oh, here's a good example. On Yaga, we want to give him a rec bit that allows us to get more ult gauge. And this is one of them. Unity from top to bottom. So, yeah, 35% ult gauge fill rate increase. And, yeah. This is definitely a really great rec bit. Now, there is a better rec bit coming our way, but we'll have to wait a bit. It's going to be when a Meteor Jogo does drop on Global. And then on Nanami, you can go for whatever you want. You can pick a healing rec bit, a dodge rec bit, so that way you can dodge. Or you can go for something that gives more cursed energy, so that way you'll be a bit more okay on that kind of line. Like, for example, Imaginary Youth. This gives out 20% cursed energy recovery. So this will be good for being able to just go through the quest and just being able to spam that skill 2 of his. Inumaki. Because this guy does indeed use up some HP, you can give this guy a healing recollection bit. So this is one of them. So yeah. Also gives some damage reduction, so that's not bad. So we can do that. Or you can change things up. Give Nanami the rec bit, and because Inumaki is there for being able to get the ult gauge up, you can spam that up. Yeah. And then as backup, you can put anyone you want. It can be a DPS, a specialist, a support character, anyone. Anyone. But this is an example of a free-to-play team that anyone can go for, as long as they have a DPS character. And by the way, because Nanami and Yaga buff anyone, yes, this will work with the blue Yuta when he does drop. So when you do get that character, this is a viable team for everywhere else, just not for Tower, not for Imaginary Realm, not for the hardest content, but it works. It just works for getting started onto the game. Let's just go ahead and improve some stuff. Let's say you have advanced your account even further. I'm obviously going to be removing the SR Nanami for the Teen Nanami, who is a much better character. He does what the SR Nanami does, but just way better because he also provides damage. He does crits as well. He also provides even more damage buffs to red characters. Now, that being said, these characters are going to be more so specific to a mono team. In this kind of case, his skill 2, 50% red attribute damage dealt increase to all allies for 4 turns. And then his skill 3, 30% break damage, 90% red attribute damage dealt increase to all allies. And yeah, he is also a bit of a hybrid character too, but either way, this is great. And then the ult, oh yeah, 50% damage dealt increase to red characters here. A lot of stuff going for him. And then I can just put Domain Gojo. Now, the thing is, both of these characters are limited, so that's the unfortunate thing, but these are still some really super high value characters to get, especially Nanami right now, because he just helps out a lot of the tower floors. So there's that. And yeah, this is what a more premium team looks like, although not the best. And because Gojo wants to get the ult out as fast as possible, you also have some domain characters here and there where you want to be able to get the ult fast. For these said characters, this is a good recollection bit to use. in excellent shape, which is also free to play. But if you don't have that, you can rely on some rec bits that give, per se, more ult gauge upon landing crit. This is a good one, for example, because every time I apply a crit, I'll be able to get this up. So there you guys go. But now, let's just go and swap things up a notch and just go for like a different team. Alright, let's just go for a more green-focused setup this time around, because most of you guys will already have the green UG thanks to the redrawable tickets. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Now, because he's a Taijutsu unit, you do not want to use any of the rec bits that I recommended. This time, you want to go for Taijutsu increased rec bits. So in this kind of case, here are some good examples they can take advantage of. This is in standard. This gives out 65% damage dealt increase to self for 1 turn, and applies 25% crit damage dealt increase to self for 1 turn, and also gives out more Taijutsu damage by 10%, and Jujutsu, although he has no Jujutsu at all, so this is kind of dead, but still, it's a valuable rec bit. You can take advantage of this, and it will work fine. And then what else can we take advantage of? Oh, yeah, like-minded sisters. Upon using an ult, 85% physical technique increase to self for 1 turn, and then has the same effect as the Curse Spirit school team. Every time I land a crit, 200 ult gauge increase to self. So this is definitely one of the best rec bits to use for Taijutsu units. And then, well, anything that just gives out Taijutsu damage, really. This, for example, is going to be good to have on Yuji. 65% physical technique increase to self for 2 turns. And also, does apply evasion to self for 1 turn, so pretty good, pretty good. You can take advantage of this. But yeah, there's a lot of different rec bits that do a lot of different things. And one more thing is that when it comes to building up characters, right, you can also give them some damage increase to all other allies. So in this kind of case, this Choso rec bit, 25% damage dealt increase to all green allies for 3 turns. So that's also a very viable one to use. And yeah, you can diversify with your support characters. But for the DPS characters, you want to mainly go for these kind of rec bits as a whole. Anyway, in terms of green, yeah, because we have access to Gakuganji, who is a debuffer for green, and everything, not a lot of people are going to have Domain Expansion Gojo. This is another team that you can go for. So, hold on. Yeah, not the best. Hold on. Let me just get the things completely changed. Also, another rec bit that gives more ult gauge is indeed an option. These are all examples that I'm giving out, by the way, that can work out nicely. So, yeah. Also, another healing rec bit. Yeah, this is a team setup that you can go that is perfectly viable. Now, that being said, the last setup that you can do that works, not as crazy as having 3 supports and 1 full DPS character, but let's say your main DPS character needs help, wants to have support. Well, guess what? You can run another DPS character just fine. So with that taken into consideration, I'm going to keep Gakuganji here. I'm going to move Yuji here, and then I'm going to pull up Hollow Purple Gojo. Now, although as soon as you ult with the character, you keep in mind he does leave the battlefield, and you won't be able to use him again, so you need to have a backup character ready as soon as he leaves. Well, this is another team composition that you can use and have access to. And then the last character, just bring anyone. Just bring anyone. Support character, that can do. Another Jujutsu character, that can do, like Muta. Even though he's not that crazy compared to, like, Honored One or like Choso. This is a very good team composition to set up. But now, here's a more premium team that I can show you guys that works out fine if you have the units. This character right here, Choso. Let's just give him something that can do... Yeah, I'm just going to give him this. And then on Gojo, because I like rocking this rec bit always on him. That works. And then we're just going to be rocking Team Shoko. There we go. This is a more premium team that you can run, even though it does require pulling the units, but there you guys go. Not bad when it comes to damage. This works nicely. So, yeah, of course, if you feel like you want to have some healing, you can do that. There's a lot of team compositions that you can take advantage of, really. Okay, now let's just go ahead and talk about some game modes real quick. So, obviously, you have story. This is where you get all of the cubes that is going to be available to you. And then you have the limited story events. These are always something that you want to do because, believe it or not, whenever you do get the story events out there, you do get the lottery box, in which, besides just getting cubes, you also get, per se, cursed object, which can help you get more grades unlocked. You can get some EXP, Beacon of Recollection for the Recollection bits. You can get some JP for being able to work on your skills. You can get a lot of different stuff that you want to prioritize. Now, it's not available on my game, but keep in mind the Utah Story event will be out available tomorrow. So yeah, I'm recording this before the whole thing comes out. So just letting you guys know. And then every now and then you do have the Imaginary Realms active. Now I already did do a guide for Choso. His event has come to an end. It's no longer available for you guys to do. But every time these Imaginary Realms come out, make sure to do them and do it at the highest difficulty that you possibly can. Because this does give out some fragments for being able to get Jujutsu Crystals, more Jujutsu Crystals, and then some extra EXP. Now, it's not as good as, like, story event or the map events, where you can get a lot more than that, but still, it's solid enough. And then these Phantom Medals, they're good for being able to pick up some free-to-play characters. Yes, this game does have free-to-play characters that you can pick up and have access to for being able to go through the game content. So, just saying, letting you guys know. But also, every time we get these active, there's also going to be some extra benefits, like summon tickets to a related banner. Now, we just had the Yellow Kaido and Yellow Yaga banner rerun, and you could do a free multi on that if you just grinded out the event. Yes, this game does give out free multis every single time we get a new event, so you can get lucky and potentially pull a new character, or you can get shafted and get nothing. In my case, I got nothing, so that can happen. And you also have the SP battle to get more cubes, although the SP battle, I would only prioritize this once you can get your account to be good to take advantage of, because this is a bit more difficult, not something that free-to-plays can really get access to, but like the events and everything else, the story, you should be just fine. Domain investigation, this is something that I would always recommend doing on a daily basis, and once you get to Domain of Chaos, very hard, not hard anymore, you can just leave it on auto, and every time you do this, you'll get these medals, and you can use these medals to exchange for Phantom Parade gacha tickets. This can help you multis for free without having to spend any cubes on the standard banner gacha. And these tickets, you have different ways of being able to get them, not just from the exchange shops, not just from the events. There's also another way. And also, let's say you're missing a specific cursed objects for being able to get a great character done. You can choose to exchange the medals for these cursed objects. Now, I'm already at a good stance when it comes to the cursed objects, so I don't have to do that. I only use my medals nowadays to get the Jujutsu Crystals, the Phantom Parade gacha tickets, all that good stuff. There's also some dupe shards that you can get, and some 5-star tickets, or SSR tickets, excuse me. Yeah, these are the standard banner tickets that you can get, have access to, and potentially get either characters or recollection bits for free, so you can get that. And, of course, you have Jujutsu Crystals and then some dupe shards right here that you can take advantage of. Dupe shards, you can basically use them onto any given character that you want. I only recommend doing this on limited characters because you're almost never going to pull for them once they get their rerun out, and getting more statistics, that does help in the long run, because it also means that you just get more stats. So in this kind of case, let me just go ahead and pull up Shoko. Not the best example, by the way. Not the best example, but doing a dupe shard onto any given character unlocks 25% more stats onto your HP, Jujutsu, Taijutsu stats, and it will allow the character to think a little more and also do more damage. Not the best example, but obviously, let's say you get Blue Utah, that crystal, that's where you want to use them on it. But never on support characters, because they're just there to support, nothing else. They are not there to do damage. Look at my Shoko, okay? I just got lucky and got extra copies. That's it. And this is also going to be another way for being able to get Jujutsu Crystals. So there's that. Cursed Object Collection. We pretty much did talk about this as you level up the characters, so yeah. Formidable Foe. This is going to be where you can get the free recollection bits. In this case, Pride is going to be the better one to get, although upon starting it, this will not be easy because Jogo literally does a fucking domain expansion. So you want to have a really good team set up to take advantage of this. And once you get your characters fully built up, ready to go, you'll be able to clear this. Just make sure to clear all the missions and you'll be able to get the Pride Rec bit. And you can also get the duplicates of the Recollection bit. So either way, definitely do this once you get the chance to do so. And then you have some other free rec bits to get from here. This one, not as crazy good, really. Yeah, not a lot of taijutsu damage, but you do apply some jujutsu DR, but not that crazy. So there's that. And then this one right here, this is where you get the recollection bit that is more so important for the domain expansion characters like Domain Gojo, Domain Megumi. So yeah, just giving out more ult gauge and just being able to go through that, yeah. And this one, this is mainly a specialist rec bit that you can get, which just applies attract, and you also get some DR, and also get DR to all of your allies. So yeah, either way, these are some very easy quests that you can do once you get your account progress through. Not right now. Obviously, I would tackle this on once you at least complete the story, once you get at least the character to like level 100 and you get all of the stats up, the skills up, and then I would really recommend attempting this. Reminiscence story is just old stories that were previously introduced into the game, and you'll always get access to them every time we get a new story event where it gives out these passes right here. The Reminiscence bookmark is what allows you to play the old story events and being able to get everything. Now, they'll have a lot less rewards compared to when they initially dropped, but you'll still have the lottery box available to you where you can get more EXP, more cubes, phantom medals for the free-to-play characters, a lot of crazy stuff. So either way, this is something that anyone can do once you beat the story event. Like, that easy. You just go through the story event and you'll be able to get one of the bookmarks, and you can attempt any story event at your own choice. Doesn't matter what you pick, because at the end of the day, they kind of offer the same rewards, the only difference being the old recollection bit that you can get access to. Yeah. And then we'll talk about the last two game modes being Cursed Spirit Cleanup Battle and Illusory Tower. Now, these two modes, besides Domain Investigation being pretty solid to take down once you get your account at a good standing, these are end-game content. They are by far the most difficult content out there. Right now, Sweep, when you do get mono teams available to you, this is easy. But because we're going to be getting the Sweep 2.0 update tomorrow, and we'll have the hard mode available to us, this is not easy to go through. Like, to be able to clean out the blue sweep, you need to have the blue Yuta. A lot of characters are going to be a lot more mandatory too. Like, you need to have Chosa to help you out. Kusakabe helps out more to clean out the yellow sweep. Red, now, you definitely want to have access to, like, Domain Gojo, Teen Nanami to help you out even more. Even Megumi. So, like, this is not going to be some of the easy stuff. But as soon as you get these quests done, you do get these little items right here, which are basically meant for being able to go through the potential system of a character. So right now, as it stands, I would really recommend taking down the easy version of Sweep, because when you do this, you'll be able to enhance your character even further and unlock their potential system. The potential system gives out more stats onto your characters, which includes more Jujutsu, more Taijutsu. You get also more initial cursed energy, more HP, so that way you can tank a little more, and if needed, you can increase your max C as well. But also, most importantly, this right here, which is very important for mono teams, you can get more damage dealt increases up to 5%. But also, this is where you get to do the SP buffs, which are what I would like to call the Easy A's of JJK Phantom Parade, the resurrections of JJK Phantom Parade. And this is also beneficial for a Yuji as well, because you get to improve an already existing skill, and sometimes even improve the passive of the character. Like, for example, this is Yuji's skill 3. Now, keep in mind, you need to get it maxed out to level 10. So, you're not going to be able to get it immediately. So, you're going to need to get at least 3 Jujutsu Crystals to get it maxed out. But, basically, you increase more of the damage. From 430%, it goes up to 500. And then he also applies a crit resistance decrease from 51.60 to 60% for 2 turns. And also, every time Yuji launches a Black Flash, it's no longer from 5 cursed energy, but up to 10. And then he just applies 100% Black Flash rate increase to self for 3 turns, and applies 30% Taijutsu increase to self for 3 turns. This was already there, but also applies a zone status. And every time he is in a zone status, he also gets a 100% Black Flash rate, and also applies 50% damage dealt during Black Flash, and also increases his Taijutsu to 100%. This is why Yuji is so dominant right now. It's literally because of the fact that his SP buffs are all helping him to make him into a better character. And the same case is going to be for when Red Yuta, Blue Ghetto, and Miguel get their SP buffs. That being said, you can only do this once a week. You can only have access to 6 attempts as soon as the thing comes out, including the fact that you need to spend a little bit of cubes just to get access to the extra attempts, and you can only get a set amount of them. Now, when it comes to doing sweep, I really recommend trying to get a 7 out of 10 clear, and then you'll be able to get most of the rewards. A 10 out of 10 clear, it would just mean, well, being able to get just a little bit more stuff, but like 7 out of 10 is more than enough, really. So, yeah. That's pretty much it for this game mode right here. I would really recommend tackling on the easy version. Once you get your account a little bit more ready like mine, keep in mind I've been playing since day 1, you'll be able to tackle on a hard sweep. So, yeah. And then, lastly, Tower. Tower is a bitch. And I mean a bitch. The rewards you get out of this are really good. That being said, they are the difficult ones to go through. Now, for the first 20 floors, you should be okay, but then from floor 20 onward, you're going to need to start getting a bit more characters, and this is where everything becomes mono-based, or maybe even earlier now that I think about it. Like, what is floor 18? Okay, no, you just have typing disadvantage on yellow. Floor 20. Okay, it's still yellow. Is it from floor 2? Okay, yeah, this is where everything becomes a whole mono-based setup. You need to bring every single team being mono. And the only exceptions would pretty much be Domain Gojo, because he still has invincibility, and he cannot get touched. And also, he can still get the ult gauge up active. So, like, for the first 50 floors, it's all mono-based, but there are some exceptions that you can run. You can still run stall teams, like Mahito and Nanami, to do the stall strat to take down the stages with ease. There are videos out there where people have done floors 1 to 50 with just a stall strat. But from 50 onwards, yeah, this is where things get even harder, and the stall strat isn't as effective because the enemies do a lot more damage. But besides that, difficulty-wise, it's just about the same from floor 21 to 50, but from 61 the goddamn 80, bro. It becomes even harder. You need to get units. And then from floor 70 up to floor 80 onwards, guess what? If you decide to bring any other character that isn't mono, you can't get their ult active, meaning that Domain Gojo is pretty much dead. But that being said, the rewards overview, you do get a good amount of cubes. It's always 300 cubes per stage cleared, except for like the bottom floors, as you guys can see from here, from floor 1 to 10, and then yeah, from floor 10 to 20, yeah, and then from floor 20 all the way up to floor 80, it's all nothing but 300 cubes. And then let's say you reach a specific floor like floor 30, you get the Phantom Seal Stamp. The Phantom Seal Stamp, this will allow you to unlock the level cap of any given character to level 10. In my case, I used my Phantom Seal Stamp on these characters that you see right here. I used it on Domain Expansion Gojo, I used it on Honored One, Sukuna, Yuta, and Choso. So, yeah. Were they wasted? Not at all. The main Gojo still does damage, so that's why I gave it onto him to maximize his DPS. On one, crazy as hell green unit. Sukuna, oh, he's been power prepped by Yuta, but back then, yeah, he was very worth it. Yuta, I mean, he was my favorite red character at that time. I did not regret using it on him. And Chozo, I don't regret using it on him because he's so goddamn cracked. The only character I regret using the Phantom Seal stamp on very early on when I still had like a noob mindset was this Blue Gojo. So yeah. Either way, the Phantom Seal stamps, I only recommend using them on your main DPS characters and if it's a favorite. Unfortunately, you're very limited with getting these Phantom Seal stamps, so do not use them recklessly onto, like, I don't fucking know, Blue Maki? No. Definitely not on the support characters that don't do damage. Like, for example, Teen Shoko, she just supports and she just heals. Or this Shoko right here just supports and only does a bit of damage from the ultimate. So, like, no, not worth it, not worth it. Yaga, I mean, he debuffs. That's the thing. And he does do a bit of damage, but I don't think he warrants using a Phantom Seal onto this character. So, like, be very selective when it comes to using this kind of stuff. Geto might be worth it now with his SP buff, but at the same time, nah, just save it for Yuta. Just save it for Yuta. And then you have the dispatch where you can just send out characters to pick up some rewards. You can get some orbs, JP, Beacon of Recollection, and sometimes even crystals. If you can get lucky, sometimes you can get some Jujutsu crystal shards. And with every time you get the crystal shards, you can just go into the rare mats and just exchange them. Alright, I think we've tackled on every single game mode. Now let's just talk about the exchange system. So every single thing has an exchange system, which is crazy to even think about. Through the events, obviously you're going to be able to pick up some rewards, as you guys can see right here. Oh, I forgot to exchange this. Let me just do that real quick. But yeah, you can just pick up some good stuff that you may need for your account. Domain investigation, I pretty much already talked about this. Basically, another way of being able to get some cursed objects that can help you out. And also Phantom Parade gacha tickets, which, oh yeah, we're going to talk about. The sweep, every time you do get some clears in, and sometimes you can get lucky, you do get these badges, which will then allow you to get these bottles, which are very necessary for being able to get your SP buffs onto some characters. So that can help you in the long run, especially for Green Yuji, Red Yuta, Blue Ghetto, just to get them done, get it out of the way. Rare mats, basically, get your shards, basically get your fragments, and then convert it into the currently existing items. You have the friendship points. Now, on the friendship points, I would really recommend picking up just the recollection bits and nothing else here. Yeah, you can get some EXP, but it's like, bro, I only have like 565 points. That's how much I get. Nah, I think I'd rather pick up some rec bits, so yeah, which are nice to have onto the account. Not much to really talk about here. And then the gacha points, basically, once you hit a certain number on the summon points, you can choose to either PD the character, or you can convert half of your points into these gacha point cards, which will then carry over to any banner. And you can only use 100 points at a time per banner, but still, it halves the pity at the very least. And then soul shards. Now, this, you can get them by just selling characters. When your account reaches a point where you have maxed out every single R, SR, or you're not planning to max out the already existing R and SRs, and you've already done the essential ones, you can then go onto formation and go to your conversions, and then also sell them for the shards. And with this, you can get yourself a free dupe, and this always helps out. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I wish we had more games like this where you have a dupe shard system and you can just sell whatever characters you have, then save them up and just exchange for any given already existing standard character. Because from this, I saved up my shards and I managed to get my red Toji from A0 to A5 in an instant after summoning my Phantom Parade gacha tickets. And now we're also going to tell you guys how you can get these Phantom Parade gacha tickets. Every time you get rec bits and you decide to sell them, every time you have 20 of these scrolls, you can exchange for one Phantom Parade gacha ticket. So let's say you've already maxed out some rec bits already, or you don't want to max out a particular rec bit. You can exchange that rec bit into these scrolls right here for a set number of times. If you have an SSR one, you're looking at a good 100 scrolls that you can get out of. For the SRs, I believe it's 10, and then the Rs, it's only like 1 point. But besides that, this is going to be your way of being able to get Phantom Parade gacha tickets. So over time, the more time you summon, the more of these scrolls that you can get, and you can pretty much exchange it for the Phantom Parade gacha tickets. Or you can just save them up, and also, let's say you're still needing to max out Gakuganji, the Yaga, Nanami. This is something that you can pick up, but I don't think it's really all that necessary because you'll be able to dupe out the characters in due time. And then the Phantom Medal Exchange. This section right here has free-to-play characters that you can get access to. And right now, the best one has to pretty much be Joko because of his SP buffs. He is right now just as good as Sukuna, if not just a bit behind him overall. But right now, obviously in floor 81, because of the fact that DOT has been completely fucked over, he's not a good character to have, and you still want to try to pull the new blue Yuta. But if you're looking for like another sub DPS character to use alongside Yuta, just get this character out, max out his ultimate, and get his SP buff, and you're looking at a pretty solid blue DPS character that you can use alongside the blue Yuta, and he has an AoE attack, so not bad. Now, Mahito and Hanami, these guys are good for the first 50 floors on tower, so if you guys want to cheese it with a stall strat, you guys can do so, because Hanami does damage lower through the skill 3, and then Mahito dodges on the skill 2, and every time you pop the ultimate, you do a 15% permanent damage to the boss, and you just always try to get the domains up together as you just keep on doing that for like the next 30 turns before the boss becomes so overly powerful to kill you off, and then you can do that. Although the stall strat is pretty much dead now, but still, for newer players getting into the game, these two characters are worth picking up. To get the Phantom Medals, of course, you just need to play the events, domain investigation, that kind of stuff. Dagon sucks, though. He is a tank, but also wants to be an attacker, and he's not good. He is not good. If you're wanting to pick him up, only because of the fact that you can take advantage of this right here, which is the last thing I want to talk about. Every time you go onto Enhanced Character, and you do get lucky with pulling some of the newer characters, or you even get some old characters that were already featured before, like Teen Gojo, Teen Ghetto, that kind of stuff. Once you get the character leveled up to level 140, to save it for a last resort, and when you get the CP rating high enough to reach over 9,000, you can get more cubes, you can get another Jujutsu Crystal, some AP packs, and there you guys go. So, other than that, that's the only reason to pick up Dagon, but besides that, I would not really recommend anyone to pick up the character. Okay, lastly, since we've saved this topic for last, I'm going to tell you guys which packs you guys should prioritize if you guys are planning to become a light spender, or if you're planning to just wail on this game, because this game, I'm not going to lie, it has a lot of very cheap packs that you can get access to. Now, if you have the PC version and you're on the PC client, you do get access to the PC exclusive tabs, or if you pay for like €2, you can get almost 2 singles worth of cubes. But I wouldn't really go out of my way to do it, because you can already do it on your mobile device and get like 300 cubes for like €1 or so, and you get access to this. Not something I would really go out of my way to pick up besides the 10 cubes. That being said, here's the first one that I do want to recommend picking up: the Celestial Axis. This allows you to do a single on any given gacha for free once per day. So that helps you out a lot. Then you get a free AP recovery twice a day. And also, you increase the reward times on sweep. So instead of doing 6 attempts, you'll be able to do up to 8 as a maximum, which can help you to maximize your characters. And of course, you do get a bit more of a drop rate up on the EXP orbs and the JP. So this is definitely something that I do recommend picking up. It's only €6. I think it's very worth it if you're going to be playing the game a lot in the long run. I've always bought this Celestial Pass. It's very good. I don't ever regret not buying this. It's basically similar to the Brave Souls Bonanza Pass, where you just get the extra recharge onto your soul tickets. It's pretty similar, really. So that helps a lot in the long run of things. And then the other packs, Now, let's say you want to buy cubes. I would never really recommend going out of your way to buy the limited time items when it's available, or just go for like the weekly, monthly. Look, let's say you want to get a multi's worth of cubes. Just buy this for 10 days. For 10 euros, you're going to be able to get a full multi for 10 euros, which is pretty goddamn cheap. So that is something that you guys can access, and it can help you in the long run for just being able to save for the anniversary. Obviously, I wouldn't really go out of my way to try to buy this every single time, because if you buy for like a month, you're looking for like a good 30 euros. So yeah, that's something that you can do. Favorable cube packs, not much to really say here. But there's one more thing I do want to recommend people to buy. The monthly pass. This, upon purchasing it, you're going to be able to get 430 cubes. But every day, you'll be able to get 100 cubes worth every time you log into the game. And that's, let's say you want to maximize your single pools every single day. Buying the Celestial Pass and the monthly pass, which you're looking for like around a good 8 euros now, that is pretty worth it, I'm not gonna lie, because you can also get access to the free single that you do every day, and you can do another paid single, which will then allow you to get, per se, more gacha points, which will also build up over time, and then you can go ahead and exchange for the gacha point cards a little bit more easily. Or, in my case, what I do is that I build myself up to pity a little bit more faster. Let's say I want to get a dupe of Blue Yuta. That's what I tend to do. And considering the banner is going to be out for like a full month, I'm definitely going to be doing that. And then, weekly pass. You don't get as much of a benefit compared to the monthly pass, because upon purchasing it, it's 140 cubes. But then for the next days, you're going to be getting 50 cubes upon logging into the game every single day. So not much to talk about here. And then, let's see, is there anything else I want to talk about? Well, keep in mind, every time we do get a story event banner, we're always going to be able to get tickets. Those tickets, you can basically buy them. Now, right now, they're currently unavailable, but for Yuta, we'll definitely be getting some summon tickets to be able to buy. A full multi on Yuta's banner is only going to cost like 8 euros. So you can do that, but also you can buy an extra 6 tickets already. And I believe 5 tickets is going to be like 3 euros, and then 1 ticket is 1 euro. So basically, for 12 euros, you're going to be able to get a full multi's worth in, and also 6 singles. Alright, and then the last thing that I would recommend spending players to be able to buy is going to be the monthly Phantom Parade Pass, just because of how dirt cheap it is and the contents that you get out of this. Because every time you buy this, it's going to be 8 euros. You're going to also be getting, hold on, I'm going to show you guys right now, 930 cubes upon purchasing the pack itself, but also you can get close to 3,000 cubes already just by buying this. When you get the pass rank EXP all the way maxed to 25, you're already going to be looking at 2,600 cubes that you can get just by getting everything. And you already get 930 cubes just from picking this up. So in total, it's going to be 3,530 cubes. And guess what? You also get some benefits too, right? You're also going to be able to get a bit of the chaotic Jujutsu Crystal shards, so that way it'll help you to form any Jujutsu Crystal. But also this, you get a Resonant Fragment SSR, and you get 2 of them. So if you're ever close in getting a dupe shard, these fragments that you keep on buying add up over time, and you'll be able to get yourself a dupe shard without having to go onto the secret shop just to pay for the overly expensive pack that is like 75 euros. I never recommend doing that at all, but still, I still think that this is a great valued pass that I do recommend buying if you're trying to be a light spender or a mini whale or being a dolphin. Like, I always recommend picking this up alongside the Celestial. Now, there's a lot of pay-to-play aspects of things, but bro, I just like how freaking cheap this is. Like, I kind of wish we had a little bit more gacha games with this, but also cater towards the free-play a bit more. That's the thing we need to have, but yeah. But besides that, for light spenders, I never really recommend picking up the over-expensive packs like the Starter's Gift Pass or like this. Like, if you have to buy something, maybe the dupe shard pack, not this one. But like, every time we get a celebration in the mix, you do get the SSR shard, That's going to be like around 38 euros, but you also get like a hefty amount of cubes from that. So if you guys want to pick that up, that's an option. But other than that, those are the only packs I really recommend if you're planning to spend money on this game. But yeah, there you guys go. Alright, that does it for the long beginner's guide. I know this was long as hell. I know I talked about a lot of stuff. I had to yap a lot, but I hope this video helped out a lot of people into, setting up a good account. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. This has been your boy, the Death Smasher. And I hope to see you guys more in JJK Fandom Parade videos because I've been enjoying this. I'm not gonna lie. Doing videos on a different game compared to BBS. Hope to see you guys in the next one. We will be streaming RG to Summon. So take care, lads. Bye. Sayonara. Ciao, ciao.